You are listening to Peak One Sports.
Welcome to the Bungalow Sports Show. We are here again. Joey's back.
Woo!
The boys
up,
are
guys?
back in town.
Dang, dude.
The boys are back in town. It's been a while, dude.
It has been a while.
It's been, what, 3 weeks since you've been in here?
I think so, yeah.
2 episodes, 3 weeks?
Yeah. Some kids were sick, family.
Yeah, you got sick the first
did.
time, and then last week, Paris and Andy weren't feeling well. I had to go solo bolo, dude.
Yeah, you did, dude.
But I tell you what.
Huh.
It made me kind of reorganize everything, and now our setup's a
looks
little
fantastic.
bit more legit. I don't have to do as much editing, but anyways, that doesn't matter because today's episode, just like all episodes, are brought to you by Betalytics.
A
Betalytics.com. Go there, get 25% off.
code Peak1.
Code Peak1. It's been working for people.
Listen, guys,
Come on,
football's back. Like football's been
It's back.
it's been
It's
back,
back.
right? But we're getting them spreadsheets, right? Spreadsheets so you can spread cheeks, baby.
Hell
okay,
yeah.
That's how we do it, dude. You want to take your ladies out? You want to take your significant other out?
I thought you were talking about spreading your own cheeks.
no.
I get so excited I spread my cheeks when I win.
Yeah.
But yeah, go to Betalytics. Don't bet with your gut, dude.
Mm-mm.
Don't do it. Don't be me.
No, don't do it.
Don't
dude.
bet with your gut. Bet with, statistics and smart guy stuff.
Yeah.
Don't
bet
or smart girl stuff. Let's not be sexist here.
I like that.
But yeah, Betalytics.com. Code Peak1, 25% off. We are also brought to you by League Swipe. I have my very first fantasy draft of the season today.
Yeah.
At 5:30.
Oh.
And I'm psyched. And if you're a commissioner, I'm not the commissioner of this league.
Yeah,
that
I was
I'm
gonna
on
say.
today. But if you're a commissioner of your fantasy league, you should go check out League Swipe and see what they can offer you to make your headaches a little bit less.
I heard it's tough being a commish. And,
sometimes it's easy. I mean, I would venture to say that my tenure as commish of the Peak One Sports Fantasy League, it's gonna be pretty easy
You think so?
because I ain't doing nothing.
Well,
Like everything's set. We're gonna draft.
Yeah.
We're gonna play. That's it.
dude,
Don't come to me with your complaints.
So, like, most of our teams are already kind of, like, set up, right? We haven't done the draft yet, but, like, names are chosen and all that other good jazz. And I decided to send, like, my promo. I cut my WWE promo
Hell
on
yeah.
the league chat.
Oh, okay.
And nobody responded except for Alexis.
Well, we're
because he felt sorry because I texted our group and I was like, no one
remember, yeah.
responded.
well.
So
We
shout
are,
out
like,
to Alexis, man.
Right now at the Peak One Champions League, we're at an odd number, so we need another.
Oh.
One of some Peak One employee hasn't joined up yet. I don't know who it was. I got to go back and look, but we're sitting at an odd number. We can't draft with an odd number. So if we can't fill that last spot, maybe we'll get a Bungalow baby out there.
I think we need to look into cutting him from the network, right? I mean, if you can't join.
I mean, well, the sad part is I think it's Chris Robb, which is Ashton's co-host on Sports Page Radio, and he's the only actual former football player in the league. So that would be kind of ironic, but maybe he just didn't get my email.
Just kidding.
Maybe the email went to the junk. I don't know. We'll find out. But yeah, League Swipe. If you're the commish, if you don't like hounding everybody for the league fees, if you don't, it basically makes everything, a nice little spreadsheets for, it just helps you out. And a lot of leagues out there are more complicated than the ones I choose to take part in.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you really dig deep, like the Dynasty DNA guys, go check out Dynasty DNA on Peak One Sports Network. They're balls deep into fantasy.
Are they?
Obviously, that's the nature of their show. So I would imagine that their league is quite a bit more complicated than ours.
Sure.
So maybe League Swipe something that just go check it out.
Yeah.
League swipe.
It's like Monopoly. Everybody's got their own rules for the game.
Right.
You know?
Don't fuck around.
Don't fuck around.
And then I wanted
Park
to
Place is mine, bitch. I'm just kidding.
I wanted to bring up something. Friday night was the very first Friday Night Lights broadcast of Texas high school football with Peak One Sports. It was the Saginaw Rough Riders versus the Boswell. I can't remember what their mascot was.
Texas high school football rules.
Dude, and it's a different fucking level, dude. I'm not lying. Like, I've watched quite a bit of California high school football.
Oh, yeah.
And just tuning into these broadcasts, because I make sure I tune in so I can give them some constructive criticism. You know what I mean? Hey, turn up some mics, or hey, do this, that. You know, they have a real fancy camera. It's an AI-based camera. Whoa. And it follows the ball.
No.
So there doesn't have to be a camera operator, basically.
Yeah.
But before the game starts, like this week was first responders night, so they had a lot of pomp and circumstance going on before the games.
Was the camera like...
The camera was panning and zooming and like freaking out, and I was like texting Ashton because he was in the producer's seat. I was like, hey, the camera's panning and zooming randomly, and he's like, oh, it's out of our hands, because I don't know who the camera belongs to, probably the school or the school district or something like that. So it's like basically just set stationary, because I was like, can't you just lock it in on the center of the field?
Right, yeah.
And then once the game starts, you can unlock it and let it do its thing. I'm positive you can do that, but he's like, they don't let us touch it. So maybe we can, you know, come on, Ashton, put your CEO hat on and say, listen, we got to lock this thing in, because Cole's, we gave him a seizure. The cheerleaders are on the field. The helicopter came in. They had an EMS helicopter land on the field to deliver the game ball. It was tight.
Yeah.
But that camera was just like...
But during the game, though.
During the game, it was perfect.
Nice.
So, yeah, we got to figure out how to lock that bad boy in, because they do a Pinnacle Bank pregame show.
Oh.
You know, so they come in early and they talk about the players. They talk about what's, you know, it's just a fantastic broadcast.
Yeah.
They killed it. They fucking killed it. Tony Nix, Peak One Sports suit, sitting in. He's a color guy.
Yeah, dude.
You know, like I said, Ashton's in the producer seat. So they just kicked ass on Friday night. I watched it until I had to go to hockey. And it was fantastic. And it's just crazy looking at the fields. Like, you go to colleges around our area. We have a few colleges around here, and their football fields are 10 times better than our college. Like, you know what I mean?
No
It's
way,
nuts.
yeah.
Like, the field is beautiful. The bleachers, they got the big blow up things where the teams run out of them with smoke machines and shit.
High school football in Texas is huge.
It might as well be college in California. It's crazy, dude. Like, it was a pretty cool experience to watch, and the Peak One dudes fucking killed it on the first broadcast. So the next one is going to be on 9/15, and it's going to be Saginaw Rough Riders versus Denton Ryan High School and Chisholm Trail versus LD Bell. So they got 2 games they're broadcasting on 9/15.
Wow. Congratulations, you guys. That's awesome.
And this is the part of the show where the audio cuts out. It's the part of the show where we lose Joey now. This is the part of the show where I feel like an amateur, where I feel sorry that Joey drove all the way to my house, all the way to the bungalow, recorded another fantastic show, I might add. He was great in it, maybe his best show ever. And I screwed it all up. And then I recorded an interview with fighter extraordinaire, Peak One Sports athlete Chad Box, and the same thing happened. I had to switch computers. Don't worry. That interview is fine, and it's coming up shortly. But, you know, having no producer, this is when you wonder why podcasts, it's so easy to do a podcast. You wonder why they have producers. It's because you need somebody looking at the screen to tell you, hey, asshole, it's not recording you anymore. And now I'm paranoid, so I'm just going to keep looking. I'm just going to keep looking over to see if I'm still recording any audio. But I'm going to do my best to piece together, you know, the rest of what we talked about, which was a lot. It was a lot. I'm not going to lie. You know, look at all this. You think we just come in here and fart around? Look at. You see this? You see all that? That's all show prep. That's all, you know. Oh, it's so frustrating. But anyways, you guys don't care. Only I care. Joey, don't leave me. Don't leave me for a better produced podcast. It would break my heart, but anyways, congratulations to the Suits, Ashton and Tony, on their first Friday Night Football broadcast. It was fantastic, but let's move on and try to piece together this show for the listeners. We had UFC Fight Night Singapore, Holloway versus the Korean Zombie over the weekend. It was crazy. It was a 2 a.m. start time for the prelims. Just, the time zone difference and all that. And 5 a.m. for the main card. Alexis actually woke up at 2 a.m., started watching it, fell asleep. I woke up at 5 a.m. and started watching it. So it was kind of like we did 2 shifts. You know what I mean? That's a Bungalow fight show double shift to make sure we covered the whole fights. But it was a good card all the way around. We did good on our picks. I believe we ended up 6-2. So that's pretty fantastic. Max Holloway came out and he shined. He does what he does. Max Holloway is one of these guys who's virtually unbeatable unless your name's Alexander Volkanovski. He basically just kind of pieced up the Zombie, and in the second round, Zombie came out and said, that's it. We're throwing down Zombie style. This is my last fight, and I'm going out on my shield. And they threw down Rock'em Sock'em Robot style, and Max Holloway clipped him with the right hand and put him to sleep, and that was that. And then the Korean Zombie just had all us tough guy fight heads crying on Saturday morning with his retirement speech and tears and hugging his family and all this stuff. And that guy, what a class act. He came into the UFC, got his popularity just for his fight style, just being tough as nails and unknockoutable and just the funnest fight style you could imagine. Got the first twister submission in UFC history. It was just a glorious career. He took a few years off. He had the mandatory military service for the Korean military, came back, and obviously an older man, seasoned vet, hasn't had the success he had at the beginning of his career, but, it's time to hang him up. And he's one of those guys, even though he got knocked out, it doesn't matter. I always talk about like the Diaz's, and there's a few fighters out there where like win, lose, draw, knockout, submission, decision, whatever, they're not going to lose any fans because everybody knows they're out there just putting everything on the line for our entertainment. And the Korean Zombie is one of those guys. So TKZ, the Bungalow Sports Show, salute you for your performance, for your career, and everything you gave us over the years, man. Thanks a lot. It was a fantastic ride. And Max Holloway, I don't know what's next for Max. Does he do another fight against Volkanovski? I don't see him winning that. Volkanovski is just on another level from everybody. So unless Volkanovski decides, I know he already went up and lost the decision at lightweight, but I think he won that decision. So I think he goes up. I think he should do another fight. I think he should do another fight at lightweight and probably capture that title. And to keep it in the MMA world, we've got a very special interview coming up right now with the very first Peak One Sports Network athlete, Chad Box. He's a combat sports athlete from Texas, and he is basically going on his retirement tour. He's setting up fights over this whole next year to kind of just go out the way he wants to go out, try to get as many fans to come out and just send him off. And he's a fantastic dude. I recorded this earlier today, and without further ado, here's my interview with Peak One Sports athlete Chad Monster Box. Welcome to the Bungalow Sports Show, man. I appreciate you being on. Chad Box, Monster Box.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you
Johnson
having me.
County Kid.
Yep, that's me.
Hell yeah, dude. the very first Peak One Sports athlete. That sounds kind of cool to
Yeah,
be able
for
to say
sure.
that. That's kind
For
of cool.
sure.
Uh, um, so I'm a huge MMA head, man. I mean, combat sports in general, but I've been, I've seen every major UFC or MMA fight, whether it's out of the country since like 2006. I'm just a degenerate for it, man. I love it so much. So when the guys hit me up and said that you were coming on board, man, I was super psyched for this to be my first athlete interview on the show as an MMA fighter, dude. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
So let's get some backstory on you, dude. Like, obviously, you're an interesting character, man, and you've had a long career doing this stuff. Like, how does one, like I said, I've been into this stuff for so long, but not once in my life did I think that I could ever do it. I was a high school wrestler and a partial college wrestler, but it just seemed like a daunting task, man. So how did you find yourself into mixed martial arts and just fighting?
Yeah. So I played hockey and football all my life as a kid in high school and stuff like that. Ran track, wasn't really good, but always a big athlete. And I did a lot of fighting in hockey. I was always number one in penalty minutes and stuff like that. And then when I turned,
Well, and just to let you know, like hockey is my like number one sport, 1A next to MMA. So that makes me happy that you're a hockey player too.
Yeah. So I grew up fighting a lot in hockey. At 19, I walked into my first MMA gym. It was just something I kind of wanted to try out. My dad was actually a big MMA fan. I wasn't too much heavy on it yet. I was playing semi-pro football at the time. Like I said, the gym opened up in Burleson, which is a local city here to me. And the rest is kind of history. Usually when you walk in, they tell you it's going to be like a year of training before you fight. I put in a lot of effort. I tried real hard. I trained every day. And in like 4 months later, my coach was like, look, I think you're ready to fight. We took on a Muay Thai fight.
Damn.
And I knocked the dude out in 50 seconds. So, like, just from then on, I kind of knew, like, this was something I wanted to do for a very long time.
Just off to the races, man. Yeah, it's kind of hard to turn it back once you go out there and get a knockout, in your first performance so quick and dominant. It's hard to be like, well, maybe we should still wait a little while. You know what I mean? You gotta keep that train rolling after you do that. I mean, so when was your first mixed martial arts fight?
So I did 4 Muay Thai fights. I did like a North American championship, amateur championship. I didn't win, but I fought in the title fight. And then I think maybe a year and a half after training total, I took my first MMA fight, knocked that dude out in the second round. And we went down to Beaumont, which is like close to Houston, and fought the hometown kid. He was like 2-0. It was my debut. Then I TKO'd him in the second round with ground and pound. And I won a few amateur championships. I fought for 4 titles in 3 different weight classes. I did win 3 of those. And then I turned pro maybe, I can't remember exactly, 2015 maybe.
Okay. Yeah, so like, I mean, Texas honestly is a kind of a hotbed for MMA camps too. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And there's always been good fighters coming out of there. So I'm sure you've had no trouble finding like good training partners and things like that, because everybody knows, what are the old cliche, iron sharpens iron. So the better guys you train with, the better results you're going to have in the ring. Mm-hmm. Where do you feel most comfortable? You know what I mean? Are you most comfortable standing? Like, do you like a grappling match? Like, are you a cage, a dirty boxing kind of, what is, if you were to have the perfect fight, like how does that go down for you?
Good question. Yeah, I go to a stand-up gym. You said you're a UFC geek like me, so you've probably heard some of the people I train with. James Vick used to fight in the UFC. He's one of our coaches. And then Kevin Holland, who is currently, everyone knows who that is right now.
Oh, nice.
Also Shauna Dobson. She was on The Ultimate Fighter a while ago. She goes to our gym. And we're all stand-up fighters. I like to strike. The dirty boxing, like you mentioned, I like to do that. I train a little bit of jiu-jitsu and wrestling, but it's hard to get me to those classes sometimes because I'd rather just use my fists and my kicks and stuff like that.
Right.
I fought for a kickboxing world title a couple years ago.
Yeah,
I didn't win, but I'm definitely more of a striker. I do like to take them down and do the ground and pound. That's very fun too, to just be on top of somebody, beating them up, respectively. But yeah, we're definitely strikers where I come from.
Yeah, that's just the names you put off there. Were a bunch of killers just in the first few names you rattled off are straight killers. So it's like you see guys in their careers, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe Ashton told me this is kind of like your retirement tour you're going on this year. Yeah. You know what I mean? Kind of putting some fights together to kind of round out a career, which is awesome. You're not just hanging it up. Go out there, get throw some more leather to kind of put an exclamation point on your fighting career. So like as careers like go on, you know what I mean? Like you see fighters kind of change styles. They obviously per fight, you know what I mean? Some guys put specific game plans together for specific fighters. Are you a guy that's ever kind of like, is it always just your game plan, what you want to do and kind of, implement that and like make them fight your fight? Or are you a guy that like put together specific plans for like your opponents?
Another good question. I'm the first guy for sure. When I get offered a fight, I'll look the guy up and I'll watch a couple of his matches and then I'm done. I don't want to watch him again because I feel like a lot of times people do get caught into making a game plan. Now, I do want to know, is he a wrestler? Is he a jiu-jitsu? Is he a striker? Yeah, I want to know that. But other than that, just like you said, I want to make him play my game. If I'm too worried about him always taking me down, then I'm not worried about what I'm going to do to him when we're standing up. Yes, I need to work my takedown defense and what happens if I get to the ground, but you really don't want to get there when you're a striker, for instance, like me. You want to stay standing up. So I think sometimes people get a little too worried about what is their opponent going to do instead of what am I going to do to him. So, yeah, I don't really game plan.
Yeah, and honestly, even though I'm a couch potato over here who's never participated in it, but anytime watching guys' careers, I feel like the span, when guys go on runs and things like that, whether it's UFC or boxing or anything or just MMA in general, like when they start getting too particular in like, oh, this guy wants to do this, so I have to do this, blah, 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 blah. I feel like when guys hit those strides where they just go on runs where they're just running through people, it's because they're fighting their own fight. Like they're this is what I'm going to do. I'll let them worry about what they're going to try to do to me. You know what I mean? So it's like, you're just going to go out there, say you go out there against a grappler. It's like, obviously you're not going to go out there and try to grapple the grappler if you have a strength, over him somewhere else. But it's just kind of like, this is what I can do to kind of nullify him, but I'll, you just got to drag him into your space. And that seems like the most successful fighters find a way to do that, which is kind of like you said, make them fight your fight, not worry too much about what they're good at and what they're going to want to do. All right, technical difficulties. I mean, it's pretty awesome that I get to talk to somebody in Texas on my podcast without, any crazy expensive equipment. But sometimes, it goes haywire. So I'll just edit it, and they won't even know, except I'm telling them right now. But anyways, back to what we were talking about, your fight career, man. So how many fights in total have you had, like across all fights, combat sports?
I don't have an exact number, but I'm getting close to 30, somewhere around there.
God damn. All right. I mean, that's a lot of fights for anybody. What about like injuries and stuff, man? Have you dealt with injuries or anything across your career?
Yeah, for sure. I had my knee blown out in a Muay Thai fight. I think that was 2019, maybe. That put me out for 2 years. I've had a shoulder surgery that wasn't too major, but I did have to have the surgery. And then I'm having neck issues, and I do have issues with my other shoulder and stuff. And actually, my other knee hurts more than my knee that I messed up. because of like the 2 years I
Of
was
course,
having to
yeah.
compensate on the one leg. So yeah, but honestly, even saying all those injuries, and the leg injury was definitely the worst, I still feel like I'm doing pretty good. I've probably had, I don't know, 15 concussions
Right.
or whatever. But I feel good. I really do. I'm 34. You mentioned earlier that this is going to be my last year. I said when I'm 35, I'm going to kind of hang it up, and I feel like I've made it out pretty unscathed, honestly, even though I have had a few surgeries.
Right. Well, I mean, and it's, you know, 35 in fight years. I mean, that most people don't even make it to 30, you know what I mean, in fighting
Yeah.
sports. So it's like you're ahead of the game, you know what I mean? And it's just I went back, I watched a few things online with you, and it's just you're just an exciting fighter, dude. And like, so these fights coming up. I know you're doing a boxing match first, you know, and then you've got an MMA match shortly after that.
Well, I guess I'm fixing to break the news because I haven't told anybody this, but my boxing match actually got pulled. So that's no longer happening. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, but I am trying to get on
Breaking
something more.
news.
Yeah. So I've been offered something for September 30th. We're looking at that. The only thing that sucks about that is it is a professional boxing match, but it's a private black tie event. And really, this being my last year, I'm not really wanting to do something like that because I want my fans to be there because I only got 4 or 5 left in me. If I was a younger
Right.
man or, I had more fights left in me, yeah, that's cool because it's still a pro fight. You're still getting paid. But I'd rather have my fans there instead of like a black tie type thing. So I'm not sure I'm going to take that yet, but I'm also looking for like an October 20th date in Arlington, which is super local to where I'm at, which that might be an MMA fight. So we're trying to get something lined up. I'm trying to get 4, maybe 5 lined out before my next birthday, which is July 4th. I just turned 34. So yeah, man, I want to go out swinging. I'm going to try to get 4 or 5 in, which is a lot, but I really want to. Once I put it down, I want to put it down. Now, in 5 years, when I turn 40, will I come back like everyone else does and do like one more hurrah? You never know, but I kind of want to put it down. I'm getting into wrestling, like WWE wrestling. I'm going to a school for that now, so I want to set the MMA down for a little bit, focus on the wrestling, have fun doing that, and then if I come back in 5 years and do like one just to have fun, cool. But I wanna go out swinging right now while I still can.
Right. No, and that's the thing. I mean, 5 fights in a a little bit less than a year, that's a ton, but like you said, you're
Yeah,
trying to go out, go out without having any I mean, not regrets, but you also when you're 40, let's say you don't come back and do one more, you also don't want to look back and go, God damn, I wish I would have done some more. You know what I mean? Right there at the end.
exactly.
And I mean, and with having a support system like you've had, your career, it's like you said, you want to go out with your fans around you or as many as you can, and
Mhm.
people that supported you throughout your career. Um,
Right.
and dude, I'm excited for you. Like that seems like a crazy endeavor. You know what I mean? Like how
Yeah.
have you ever? It would 5 fights in a year. Would that be like the most you've ever done in a year's time?
Absolutely. And having said that, like I probably couldn't push out 5 MMA fights, don't get me wrong. But if I can throw like a couple boxing matches, not that boxing matches aren't real fights because they are, but I come up doing MMA
Sure,
where
I
like
get you
we're
though. I
really
get you.
fighting. So if I could get like 2 of those into boxing matches and 3 MMA, maybe one of them kickboxing, Muay Thai, yeah, I could get to 5. But if I don't get to 5, cool. But at least 3. If I can get a boxing match here or there sprinkled in to make it 4 or 5, then yeah, that's what I'd like to do.
Right. No, that's like a stringing together a whole like farewell tour. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Put together fights in all the different disciplines that you've learned.
Exactly.
Um. So like I said, I come from like a wrestling background, like weight cuts. This is a big thing where a lot of casual MMA fans or fight sports
Yeah.
fans like I don't think they put a lot of stock in the weight cut department and how much that
Mhm.
affects your performance and how much that affects the camp and everything like that. How
Yeah.
how have like you're a seasoned weight cutter, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wrestled in the late 90s, early 2000s was my heyday, and that was when nobody knew how to cut weight. We were just running and putting on sweatpants and plastic bags and shit like that. Um, what is your weight cutting like? What is it like for you? Like, have you had a strategy for it, or is it just something where you're just trying to cut back on everything? I mean, you're obviously a healthy guy, so it's not like you're putting on tons of weight. But what's the weight like? What's the weight cut for you like now as an older guy versus when you started?
Recently I've been saying it's getting easier every time, but that's always after the fact. Like I never say that during the weight cut. Um, I do cut a lot of weight.
Right.
I walk around 210, sometimes 215, and I fight at 170. So I've always been really good at cutting weight.
Right.
I'm the biggest guy in my weight class usually, which doesn't mean I'm going to win every time, but that does a lot for you mentally knowing you're like way bigger than the other guy. So yeah, I have a strategy. This sounds crazy to people who don't know, but I save 20 to 25 pounds for the last 5 days, and I do like a water load cut, where I take out all, I won't go through all the science of it, but I take out all my sodium and then I drink a crap ton of water and it just kind of flushes your body out, type deal. I always have people trying to, hey, how do you lose weight so fast and stuff? I'm like, dude, look, cutting weight and losing weight are two different things, bro. You don't want to go through a weight cut. I mean, actually, I
totally
think every man, I think every man should have to do a weight cut, like just to test yourself and to test your mental, because it is so hard mentally on you. People don't understand that. Like, you see a lot of MMA fighters, well, the hard part's over after the weigh-in, and that's partially true, because that's such a tough thing to do, and people just don't understand it or respect it enough. Like someone like you who has done it and went through it, you can respect it, but people don't get it. You're starving. You're literally dehydrating. You're watching your wife or whatever drink and eat everything, and you can't eat nothing. And all of a sudden, every commercial is a Taco Bell commercial. You know what I'm saying? And like every ad on your Facebook, some kind of cake thing. And it's just like it's such a mental test, but it's also it's part of it. Like I couldn't imagine. I did fight once as an amateur for a 205 belt where I didn't have to cut any weight, and that's the only fight I've ever been finished in. So I don't know if it's because I didn't have to cut weight, so I didn't have that discipline or what, but it's part of it, and I think it gets you mentally prepared for what you're about to go through, which is also something people can't understand, is actually making the walk and taking and doing that, what we do. It's such a crazy emotional roller coaster. I know this is kind of off topic, but I tell people that a lot. It's just like, man, making that walk, knowing you're about to get into a fight is so crazy, because I don't do no bar fighting or anything like that. But, when a fight usually happens, it's spur of the moment. Boom. You don't have time to think about it in the streets. It just happens. Boom, boom, boom. Then it's over. When I got to think about this guy for 6 or 7 weeks, and he's the only thing I'm dreaming about, and I'm thinking of how many different ways he could beat me up in front of my mom and stuff like that. It's like it really it messes with your head, bro. And it's and like when I talk about it, I always say I hate it. I hate that part of it. But then afterwards, you love it so much because you just mentally went through all that warfare. And win or lose, you love it. But obviously when you win, you're like, oh, dude, I went through all that. I was so nervous. I was panicking. And then, boom, you're the fucking man, because you just won. Everyone in the audience loves you. And you get this feeling like you're that you rep your city, your family, and all this stuff. I don't know. It's just such a crazy roller coaster. And I think what makes me want to retire even more is that roller coaster. Like I've went through that emotional roller coaster close to 30 times now, and it's just how many times can you do it? I have nothing else to prove to myself. I've had to look myself in the mirror after losses. I've had to look myself in the mirror after wins, and it's just that emotional. Physically, I feel fine. Like I said, I'm moving over to wrestling, which is also a physical thing, but it's less of an emotional roller coaster because, obviously I don't want to give out any secrets, but everyone knows it's predetermined. Right. So we don't have that roller coaster, man. We just get to go out there and have fun when I'm doing that. So I want to take this emotional roller coaster a few more times, because once it's gone, it's gone. And,
it's gone.
Like I said, it feels good afterwards. And I know that feeling, so I'm willing to go through that big dip right before a fight and question myself, because I know once I come up over it, it feels great. It really does. And no one can understand what I'm saying they just hear they just hear me talking, but they don't understand what I'm saying unless you make that walk and you get into that cage. And you got to look at that other dude that's over there going through that same roller coaster. And one of y'all got to go, one of y'all's got to go.
Yeah. Well, and that's, that's so true. Is like, I think like I said, wrestling, collegiate wrestling is such a different thing, but the weight cut, the anticipation, all that stuff, and then the thrill of victory, agony of defeat kind of stuff. But are you worried, like, once you kind of hang it up for good, are you going to kind of crave that adrenaline dump? You know what I mean? Because there's always that like, whether good, bad, or indifferent, you have all this preparation leading up to a fight, the camp, the cut, thinking about the other guy, thinking about outcomes, all this stuff. And then bam, you get in there, it happens, the fight's over. It's like nothing anybody could ever imagine feeling. And then are you worried about craving that? You know what I mean? Like after you're done and having a hard time, like saying, I'm not doing this anymore,
For sure. I'll want that feeling. I mean, it happens when you let everything go. Like, I eventually had to let football go. I eventually had to let hockey go, right? Like, it just has to happen. And the older, I got kids, and I got an adult kid that's in college, right. And it's just, you got to let it go sometime. And I think I want to let it go on my own terms instead of like losing 12 in a row and just hanging in there for a couple $100. It's not even about the money for me anymore.
Right.
It's really just having fun. And I think the pro wrestling kind of helps that. I'm a huge pro wrestling fan. So like kind of transitioning into that, my pro wrestling character is me, Chad Box, the MMA fighter, kind of like a Ronda Rousey, just kind of being herself thing. So I think that's helping me out a lot. I can transition some of my fans.
Ken Shamrock back in the day.
Yeah, for sure. That's my time period is back then in the Attitude Era. So Jeff Hardy's my favorite wrestler.
Me too, man.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. And I'm glad, you've got a day job, I've got a day job, but it's good, like you say, you're transitioning over into wrestling. It's like something that's going to kind of keep predetermined, whatever. It's an athletic endeavor that you have to prepare for, you know what I mean? And it's like, even if you know what's going to happen at the end, it's still a performance you have to put on. And if you don't go out there and perform, and whether it's determined that you're going to lose, you still either want the crowd to be happy that you lost and be booing the shit out of you, or you want them to be booing your opponent. Yeah. But that all comes, it's almost like you're ditching the weight cut, but you're trading that weight cut for like the performance side. Like the physical's still there, but you're going to have a whole nother set of things that you get to learn, that you get to like figure out that this new game. And that's pretty awesome, dude.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, Jeff Hardy's my favorite wrestler, but he wasn't much of a microphone guy. But, The Rock, Stone Cold, the obvious characters, like those guys were heroes in my day. Yeah. And I know you know who Stephen Bonner is. He started wrestling, and we were actually tag team partners. We had a match together, and we lost the match, whatever.
Hell
but it was really awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, and King Mo was like our manager or whatever, So.
Oh, that's so cool, dude. Like, and awesome. That's pretty sweet that you're able to kind of stay in the same mix, probably with a lot of the same people and the same, things you've been dealing with, doing for decades now. And like I said, it's very important. It's like, even though, and I think for just people in general, like if you grew up doing athletics, doing sports, and at a competitive level, you know what I mean? My kid plays soccer, but he's not going to be an athlete. I already know that at 8 years old. He's got other things that he's really into, but I still make sure I get him out there so he can feel, whether it's teamwork, whether it's, being competitive. I go out once a week and blow the doors off myself playing hockey, even though it doesn't count for anything except in my own head. I know once a week I'm going to go out there, and athletically, physically, everything else, I'm not going to be able to move at the end of the game, because I'm going to just blow my wad every week, because it's important to me. Whether it's the machismo testosterone pumping, I don't think it's that. I think just as humans, if you have that competitive side, as you get older, the way you kind of keep your body, your mental, and everything on straight is you got to have those moments of just athletic exhaustion. You know what I mean? Mental exhaustion, and even going out in a professional wrestling match, you know what I mean? And at the end of that thing, no matter the outcome, no matter what the storyline was, no matter what it is, you put it all on the line physically. You're you're doing more dangerous shit in wrestling, give or take, than you are in MMA. Sure. It's like in MMA, yeah, you could get one punch knocked out, but in wrestling, you're jumping off the fucking turnbuckle, you're getting thrown into the crowd, you're getting hit with it's a whole nother level of stuff you're putting your body through, but it's almost like worth it. You know what I mean? I've got my 90-year-old neighbor, Bob. He comes over and pulls patio door glass out of my truck every week just to, recycle the aluminum. He don't have to, but he comes and he does it because he just keeps moving. He just keeps moving, and he's 90 years old, and he's the healthiest fucking 90-year-old I've ever met. So it's like, my goal is to just keep moving, keep doing something that blows the doors off, dude. And I think you got the right trajectory going. So, man, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for this year. I'm excited for you to, I got to get you on here before all the fights you got coming up this year, just to kind of let the people know, but also like kind of keep up with you and see how the journey's going over this next year.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's been a wild ride, and I hope it keeps going. Like you said, you just got to keep moving. There's a lot of people that wrestle, like Ric Flair was wrestling into his, 70s or something. He had a match recently, and yeah, I just got. I can't imagine.
Yeah, I mean, if you can keep the body, if you can keep the body working, there's no reason not to do something. You know what I mean? That's kind of the way I look at it. It's like it's almost a waste. Just I love being a lazy ass. You know what I mean? But I don't feel right unless I do something athletic a few times a week to really let me know I'm still alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've been freeballing these questions. It's not like I wrote down any questions for you. I was just excited to talk to you. I've been following you for a while now since Ashton put me onto you, man. And I know you're a construction guy. So construction guy to construction guy. I know this ain't MMA related, but what's your favorite part? What's your favorite trade? It seems like you're kind of a jack of all trades kind of dude, kind of like myself. I always like to ask guys this because what part of construction? What's your favorite thing to do?
So I do home renovations mostly. Like I try to stay on the inside because we're out in Texas. You're in California, right? Is that where you're at?
Yeah. I'm in the Central Valley, so it's pretty similar to the Dust Bowl of Texas. So we live in Satan's fucking oatmeal bowl here.
Yeah, so it's always hot as hell, and so I try to do more inside stuff. I mostly do showers, I would say, retiling showers. What do I like the most about it? I don't like anything about any of it. I wish I could be one of those guys that sit at home.
I love that answer because that's my answer always. That's always my answer. No, I love that answer, dude. That's always what I tell people because I'm just like, dude, I do this because I've been doing it since I was 14. So it's like I'm a trained monkey. It makes me good money. It lets me make my own schedule. But if I didn't have to do it, I wouldn't do any of it. You know what I mean? It's just like it's a means to an end to afford me to do all the other stuff that I actually have fun doing. You know what I mean? Anytime I come across a construction guy who's just like, oh man, I love laying down tile. I love putting on siding. It's just like, what the hell's wrong with you, man? Like, no, you don't. Like,
I don't like any of it.
Hey, dude, thanks a lot for joining me, man. Thanks a lot for joining me. Sorry about the technical difficulties, but I'm super psyched. I'm going to keep up with you, obviously, for the rest of this year, and we'll get you on throughout the year again. I'm so happy you're on board with the Peak One group. These guys are a bunch of good guys, and we're just trying to support each other, trying to build something, trying to bring everybody in and just get as many people supporting this thing and supporting everybody out in the community. And dude, I'm psyched for you, man. It's like, I don't even know you, but I'm excited. I'm excited for the end of your career. You know what I mean? I'm excited to see how this all pans out for you.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, I've known Ashton forever. We went to school together. I think since like elementary school. So it's cool to team up with local people like that. With Peak One, I appreciate them. Also, a couple more of my sponsors, Southern Boy Fades and Cleburne. I've been friends with Tank forever. Jerry's Lawn Service, that's one of my homeboys. Baking Bad Cookies is one of my friends, Sarah, from a long time ago. So, I like it when all of us local people come together and support each other. And yeah, man, I'm on my last run. Johnson County always comes out and supports me, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate, I think I've been fighting almost, I'm closing in on 18 years, and they've been supporting me the whole time. And I know they're going to continue with this and then the wrestling. So I just super appreciate that. Appreciate you having me on. And yeah, as soon as I get a for sure fight lined up, man, we can, maybe I'll come on here and announce it, since I, used your platform to announce that my fight was off. So
Hell yeah, dude. No, we'll get you in here like right in the midst, right in the shittiest part of your weight cut, and see how you're feeling then.
Oh, yeah. Won't be no smiles at that point, I can tell you that.
Yeah. All right, man. Thank you so much, dude, and we'll talk to you soon, huh?
All right, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Box, for that lovely interview. What a good guy. Obviously, you saw the technical difficulties we had there. And, I just gotta, I think after I record this, I've got to just unplug everything on this computer and redo all my wiring and see what the problem is, why my audio keeps cutting out every time I get Joseph in the studio. Hopefully he's not a jinx. And, but I don't think that's the case. He's a lovely boy, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it when he comes in here. Right now, Andy's taking his spot. He's sitting over here in Joey's spot looking at me. And he's just sitting there. But let's go to hockey, the world of hockey. Austin Matthews. Joey and I talked about this situation for a few weeks now. And when's Austin Matthews going to sign? Well, he has signed a $13.25 million 4-year contract with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Doesn't sound like a lot, but technically on paper, the most lucrative contract in hockey. It's only 4 years. We've seen $100 million contracts in hockey, but they're like 17-year contracts and stuff like that. So Austin Matthews getting paid. He's staying in Toronto. Of course, you're going to see all the memes of like, Austin Matthews re-signed. He's guaranteed to not win a cup for the next 4 years. And that very well may be, but that's what happens when you're in Toronto and you play hockey. You're going to get the most scrutiny. You're going to have a lot of magnifying glasses on you, because that's their team. That's like LA and the Lakers. That's like New York and the Yankees. If you play for the Toronto Maple Leafs and the team's not producing, it's going to fall on your shoulders, especially if you're getting the big money. But again, congratulations there, Austin Matthews. We salute you. We salute you. What else have we got here? I'm just trying to figure out what to do, because I don't want to sit here and break down the NFC West by myself. I've broke down too many of these divisions by myself. I did it today with Joseph, and I'm not doing it again, huh?
Why don't you just do soccer stuff?
I don't have any soccer news today.
There needs to be more soccer news. I'm going to need to talk to whoever did this.
All right, moving into football. Let's talk Robert Saleh, coach of the New York Jets. We're all falling in love with the Jets because we're watching Hard Knocks. Just get you right in the feels, get you all pumped up for the football season. And one of the things that always happens on Hard Knocks is the coaches' platitudes, the coaches' monologues, the coaches' speeches to the team to get them pumped up, to get them motivated. Well, this broadcaster, even though I'm a fan of Robert Saleh and I like his attitude and everything else, I think he needs to get some writers for his monologues, because he started the season off with the crow and the eagle. We talked about that. The crow is the only bird that will attack an eagle, and then that eagle will fly up to the highest altitude where the crow will lose oxygen and fall back to earth. That was all debunked if you just go on the internet and do one Google search. That's not true. It's not true. And then this week, he used the 4 levels of competitor. What level of competitor are you? And although that sounds like it might be a good football thing to say, it gets a little uncreative when, like, the 3rd level of competitor is competitor. he says, like, there's survivor, there's something, there's commander, and there's competitor. And it's like, you can't say these are the levels of competitor and have one of those levels be competitor. It's just uninspiring, Mr. Sala. It's uninspiring. But, he's doing his best. But why don't you let me and Joey write your monologues for you? You could hit us up, email us, or just, get in the comments. Get in the comments and say, hey, will you guys write my next inspirational monologue? Because the other thing is, too, is he used the crow and the eagle analogy, and a crow / raven. That's another football team. Eagle? That's another football team. And one of the levels of competitor is commander. That's another football team. So you're a little off base, Coach Sulla, because you're using all these other football team names to try to inspire your team, and it just sounds weird. It sounds weird to me when I'm watching it on TV. Make some jet analogies. Some fly as high as a jet, or as fast as a jet, or get in a dog fight like a jet. I don't know what we do, but you gotta tweak your inspirational quotes a little bit, Robert Saleh. But let's. I'm just gonna do a quick breakdown of the NFC West, because I've got everything loaded up here. I'm really bummed out that I screwed up the episode with Joey this morning, and I'm just trying to throw this together so we can have an episode. So let's go straight to the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco 49ers, obviously the runaway winners of this division. They made headlines this week because they traded former third-round pick Trey Lance. They traded him to the Dallas Cowboys. But it was to be expected. A move was to be expected because obviously the Brock Purdy experiment was a success at the end of last season. They were forced into it because of injury, but it worked out. So assuming he comes back injury-free and everything being equal, they were going to continue the Brock Purdy experiment this season, and that's what they're going to do. They also signed former high-caliber pick Sam Darnold, who to this point in his career has been a disappointment, but he's been on bad teams, and he was named the backup. So you can't have a third round pick Trey Lance being your third string quarterback. So we knew this move was going to happen. He's moved on to Dallas. Hopefully he has some success there. Maybe Dak gets hurt, maybe he shits the bed, and Trey Lance gets a shot. But we'll see. But as other than quarterback, they're just a stacked team on paper. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey is virtually unstoppable. Backing him up, Elijah Mitchell, who would be a number one back on most teams. In their wide receiver core, they've got arguably the best tight end in George Kittle. They've got Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Willie Snead, Ray McLeod. Just a lot of guys who can catch the ball, a lot of guys who can move the ball, and I think they take this division by storm, but I'll give you my rankings at the end. Let's go to my Rams. I talk a lot about how the Rams are my de facto NFL team. I picked them many years ago when they were in St. Louis as my favorite team because I needed a team that wasn't going to win a championship before the San Jose Sharks of the NHL, and that didn't work out for me. The Sharks made it to a final, they lost it, and then the Rams made it to a Super Bowl and they won it. So therefore, they can't be my team anymore. But this year and last year, they suck. So maybe I can be a fan again. They're bringing back Matt Stafford. I get the feeling they convinced him to come back because things were just looking so bleak in the LA Rams facility that they're probably just like, come on, dude, come back. Give us one more. Give us at least a shot to finish 500 or just not totally get embarrassed. We need you. They drafted the Van Wilder of college football, Stetson Bennett. This guy, this is a funny story. You got those of you who are football heads, Sony Michel. Sony Michel, was drafted, played for the Patriots, played for the Rams, and now has retired. And Stetson Bennett just got drafted. Those two guys played together in college. That tells you how long Stetson Bennett was in college for. He was there for like 7 years or some shit like that. But he's finally in the NFL. And if Stafford can't hack it or he gets injured, and he's an aging guy, so that may happen, Stetson may get his shot and he's a, brash kind of dude, so he might fit in well in LA if he gets a shot, but they're obviously going to be handing the ball off to Cam Akers again. They drafted Zach Evans, another rookie running back that's supposed to have some hype, but we'll see how many touches he gets and if he can shine. They've obviously got former Offensive Player of the Year Cooper Kupp going to be leading the receiver corps, and the only other guy that's kind of worth a shit, Van Jefferson. That team is not looking good. The Arizona Cardinals and their troubled quarterback Kyler Murray. My sources tell me there's a little bit of chirping going on about Kyler Murray possibly not playing this season. I don't know how much truth there is behind that. My sources are not reliable. But, he's got Josh Dobbs, Colt McCoy backing him up, who are a couple serviceable backups, but they're not going to drag you to a championship or even to the playoffs. They got James Conner in the backfield, going to be leading that, followed by Marlon Mack, Corey Clement, solid backs. But again, it's just mediocrity, I guess you would say, as far as compared to, your high-level teams. Marquise Hollywood Brown and Zach Pascal leading the receiver corps there. Again, two guys that would be great players if they had a great team around them, but they don't. So results may vary. And then, you know what? There's the Rams logo. There's the Cardinals logo. I'm just out of it. I don't know what to do. I can't do this. Why is that one there? All right. Moving on to the Seahawks. The Geno Smith resurgence continues this season. He earned himself a contract. He's another guy who went to the Jets. Seemed like a disappointing thing. But, he showed out last year, and he earned a contract for it. He's got Kenneth Walker in the backfield, who blew it up last season. He's got DK Metcalf, old reliable Tyler Lockett. They just drafted Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think the Seahawks are going to be right on the tail of the Niners in this division. I think my official rankings are going to be the Niners, the Seahawks, the Rams, the Cardinals. I think this is how it's going to go down in this division. And you can quote me on that. Joey had some sweet Joey Quickies this week. I think I may try to get him to record a little video of his Quickies for you guys. And maybe I'll put it in right here. All right, this show, this bunch of turmoil it's just about over. God, I am sorry that I can't get my shit together. And I apologize to Joey again. Joey, if you're watching this, you don't watch these fucking shows. Who am I kidding? Anyways, let's move on. Let's get to the shout outs. We keep ending these shows. We get a lot of death in our shout outs. And today I want to say RIP to Terry Funk, wrestler from my childhood. Famously in Roadhouse. Just an all-around entertaining wrestler. Hell of a career. Passed away a little too early, but what a hell of a life. R.I.P. Terry Funk. Keeping it in the WWE. Bray Wyatt. Not part of my generation of wrestling, but, obviously a fan favorite. Way too young. I want to say he was like 34 or something like that. He passed away this week. Just crazy. R.I.P. Condolences to the WWE fan base and the families of both those guys. And then another death. It's been a rough week, man. Good old Bob Barker. Just a staple of I'm homesick, I get to watch The Price is Right. That was my childhood, you know what I mean? And then my favorite movie as a kid, still one of my faves, Happy Gilmore. The Price is Wrong, bitch. Just uppercutting Happy into that water hazard. Just hell of a life. He lived to 99, so it's always sad when somebody dies, but 99, I mean, what a hell of a run, Bob. Go chop off dog nuts in heaven, bud. Salute. Okay, I don't want to end this show in death anymore, okay? We're gonna cut straight to one clip. Joey sent me this. This is reason 1977 why baseball isn't cool.
Y'all gotta see what just happened in this baseball game between this player and this fan up here, man. So Tommy Pham's at the plate in an 8-4 game, trying to put them away. And look what happens here. 0-1 count. Smokes the ball to left field. Going back, at the track, at the wall. Jumps up, thinks he has it, but the kid steals it from Spencer Steer's glove. Nobody knows what just happened. Tommy Pham's confused. He's like, does he have it or not? The commentators are quiet, but that kid has it. And they give the home run signal, and Tommy Pham's going to score. David Bell is furious. Everybody's giving this kid love over here, but look at this. Look at the close-up replay. This is in Spencer Steer's glove, and the kid just snags it from him. This kid's probably like 11, 12, maybe 13 years old. Who knows? But he had the stronger glove work than Spencer Steer here. How about that? You can see the ball in his glove, and he's just falling to the ground here. Last game of the night, just chilling, sitting back watching this, and this happens. Look at him. Look at his mom and his dad right behind him, going back to his dad saying, oh my gosh, I just caught a home run ball, but you might get kicked out of the game because this is going to be fan interference 100%. Because David Bell just challenged it. He wants to know if a fan interfered, and quite literally, that's the definition of interfering with what would have been a robbed home run. So the umpire is obviously going to review this, and they should overturn it. I don't know the call yet, but I had to, show you all this. That I don't think I've seen that before. In his glove, but the kid snags it out of his glove. Like an 11-year-old kid on a home run. Spencer Steer's probably pissed. He's like, I just had a web gem play, and this is a very important series. These two teams are neck for neck in the wild card race for the playoff. He's just now realizing that, and he's like, what in the world? Here's the moment he realizes. He turns around, he's saying, bro, that's in my glove, and this 10-year-old snagging it right from me. Here it is. Interference is the call, and the runner is out. The hitter is out, and the runner's going to have to go back, and that'll make it back to 8-4 game. And look, the kid's getting talked to by the stadium workers. His mom and dad are sitting there. I wonder if he's going to get kicked out of the game. Who knows? But David Bell loves it. The kid ended up getting kicked out of the game. That's ridiculous. There he goes. But at least school's starting soon. He can brag to all his friends. He was on national TV. This is going to be on national TV. This is going to be everywhere. He stole a home run, a robbed home run from a baseball player. He stole it right from his glove, outworked him for it. But, hey, he's getting dapped up by all the fans, man. There are the empty seats. Man, he has a story to tell for the rest of his life, though, man. That was pretty sick. But I'll tell you what, his classmates are never going to hear the end of what just happened here. A professional baseball player, Spencer Steer, would have been Sports Center top 10, probably #1 play of the entire day. But the kid ruined it.
You see? What are you doing, baseball? I get it. Fan interference is a thing, but this kid's he's a kid. He's 12, whatever he was. He had his eyes closed. He had his damn eyes closed when he caught that ball. He didn't want to steal it out of the glove. He just wanted to catch a home run. You know, it was an accident. That was like perfect timing, coincidental, and then they kicked the kid out of the game. What are you doing, baseball? And it's like his home squad. You know? He was just trying to help out his home squad. Come on, baseball, do better. Don't kick these kids out. If it's an adult, some drunk guy just leaning over the fence, touching baseballs, sure, kick him out. But this kid was just trying to do what kids are supposed to do at a baseball game, and he did it. He did what they're supposed to do. They reversed the play. No harm, no foul. Let him stay in his goddamn seat. So, do better, baseball. Do better. Okay, I got to go do a fantasy draft. Thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I'm going to do my best to work this out. Shout out Joey for sticking with me. I love you, dude. Shout out Peak One Sports. You guys are going to drag my corpse straight to the top. And I love it. And we'll see you guys next week.